we aim to create a heightened awareness of how casual, insensitive statements can deeply affect the mental well-being of those around us. Each of these statements carries the potential for significant harm. A bit of caution in our speech can go a long way in, I'm just gonna. So, although he told me.
Suppose we should always use assertive behavior, not aggressive and not subdued. So when somebody, and there are so many examples, suppose in a workplace, the same thing, female is using some point, then some male is ignoring that, and the same point he will be putting across, and he will be saying, using that that is my point. So just ignoring that this is her point, and she say
using these words, or stating these or making these statements. So sometimes it's not on purpose, it just inherently unintentional, and बस ऐसे ही लोग बोल देते हैं कि अच्छा you're 38, शादी नहीं हुई है. So I think that is, I think it's also called negging in a way. I think that's the term that is used. We face it all the time.
I also normalizing it in today's society has also become obvious scenario. But moving on to you, Charvi, from where Meenu ma'am left, about microaggression and passive aggression between relationships, whether it's husband-wife or even parents and children, also older parents and adult children. There's always this passive aggression about if you're not following their path, if they want to get something done. How does this affect the mental health of generations, family generations, and people carry these kind of situations in their future? Can you share some light on that?
Certainly. I think firstly I would like to bring a distinction between passive aggression and microaggression so that we clearly understand how these two are different. So as Dr. Ram pointed out, passive aggression is when we are communicating something in an indirect way. It's not direct expression, you're doing it through various forms, like there are various nuances to it. So it could be through sarcasm, it could be through certain snide comments that you might make, or like the mother-in-law example that he very nicely pointed out. Even silent treatment, I think in Indian households, silent treatment is so common, and it's one of the major, biggest example of passive aggression that we see in our day-to-day lives. Microaggression, on the other hand, is when it is towards a race or a community, or basically it's from a dominant community to maybe a minority community. The community that you hold probably is lesser than you. So it's mainly done in a very unintentional, unconscious manner, but it's almost like you see them as less than you, and it's done in a way to exclude you from your social standing. So to just talk about passive aggression that happens in family, and especially in Indian families, I see that a lot, and I can understand why, because there's so many cultural nuances that we have that might cause us to be passive aggressive. Because I think in Indian culture, we pay a very big emphasis on respecting the elders. So which is why any dissent that we might have, if we may not agree with something, let's say an elderly relative is saying, we are not allowed to openly say it out loud. So which is why sometimes it's like passive aggression is like a resort. It's like a coping mechanism, because there is no forum to really communicate it openly. There is no safe space to do that. We might resort to doing it from a passive aggressive manner.